Oh my goodness, my camera just shut off. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm in a hurricane of some sort with technology not working right. So I'll see if some of you are able to jump back on. I've had to start a new video. Oh my gosh. Anyway, oh Dan, okay, so you guys are making it. Good. Sorry about that. My video just shut right off all of a sudden. So it's like being in a storm, I suppose. But yes, so gratitude. I was saying I had 2 journals and just said, hi Carlos, great to see you. Thanks guys. 2 journals, a purge journal. So 5 minutes, just write whatever's in your head. Get it out, no censoring, and then 5 minutes of shifting over to gratitude, and that can be anything. It can be, oh wow, I'm so glad for my feet. I'm so candles or food or a person. A lot of my patients come up in my gratitude journal. I'm just so like, oh, I hope their knee, improves the way I can see it improving, and I hope they're getting there. So, all right, just that there's a feeling of love that comes from that. I'm so glad you brought that up, Daniel. Thanks for that great bounce back. Thank you. Yes, I don't know, technology storm. So yes, gratitude is such a great practice too, and it can really have an impact on the body and the mind and the heart, right? Feeling that love, that joy for all the little things, all the people, whatever comes to mind. Just write that down, put that out there, put that out in the world. The world could use so much love right now, right? There's so many people struggling or angry or frustrated or all these things. So the more we can do of that, I think the better. One of the small things we can do, and it does make an impact, I believe. At least if it's not adding more stress and tension to the world, right? Or to your body. So, and I think you said something else too, Daniel, about gratitude, breathing exercises, and there was another one that was really good thought too. If you think of it, put it back in there. So our nervous systems are huge, and then what happens if we're all pent up and your sympathetic nervous system is kind of being going on overdrive? I felt it during my doctoral program. And you remember I was marathon training at the same time, so my body was overstressed without maybe I got used to it. It's like it became the new normal. And once that program was over, it's like I didn't know how to shut that off. My adrenals were shot, all this stuff. So there are body repercussions that happen when we're kind of living from that tense and stressed out place. And not just in the systemic or system way, like adrenals, but also just in muscle tension. So stress creates muscle tension, or the sympathetic nervous system by its nature creates more tension in the muscles because we're like ready to fight, right? Or freeze, that's tension. Or run. And so we need to spend more time bringing that down, right? And not just living in the sympathetic nervous system. I think our culture really reinforces that lately too. Busy, go, do, get in the car, rushing around. Where are we taking a moment to breathe? So any moment you can just take to breathe is important. Oh, thank you, Daniel. Yes, looking at the small steps moving forward and being at peace. I was just thinking, I read an article about not just looking at goals and the ideal of them, but also continue to look at where you've been and where you've come from. There's another good Hamilton quote in there. I know it because I've been listening to that so much. But, look at where you've come from. It's really important to see how far you've come. And even just during this pandemic could be one way to go, it's not just the outward objective kinds of things to look at, right? So look at where you've come, look at what you've handled, look at what you've come through, and look how much you've grown. Look how far you've gotten. And be sure to not just compare yourself to your ideal forward if you're on this track of wanting to succeed or progress or what's the word I'm looking for? Achieve more, but also looking back to see how far you've come. And it doesn't just mean in the normal practical ways that everyone thinks of it, right? Like you made more money, or you've gotten this job, or you have all these degrees. I don't think that's quite as important as looking at that's all well and good. It's the horizontal path, as I would say, but there's also the vertical path. So don't forget to acknowledge yourself for how far you've come on the vertical path and where you might go. And I like to say the vertical path is circular. It's like a singularity And it is a little like a tornado that comes down and down and down and centered into this center point, which, like my friend Michael Sandrock says, is like the immovable point, the immovable center. And when you live from the immovable center within yourself, you're in yourself and you're capable of being there and living from there, then all the storms can go around you. And you're living in the storms and you're in it, you're there, but it's not you. And you are the center. You are the eye of the storm. You are the eye of the hurricane. You are the eye of the tornado. Let's all live from there and engage in the world from that place. Storm or no storm, fires or no fires, illnesses or no illnesses. Let's live from there and see what that feels like. So that's my invitation for you for this week, is to ponder, see what your thoughts are, where you've lived so far as being caught up in the storm of your minds and your mind or your thoughts, the storm of your ideals and goals or actions, or going off into, it's the sports world. I was caught up in, not caught up. I loved sports and movement and exercise, and I wanted to do that, and that's okay. But there's where was it coming from? So where are you coming from? Are you coming from yourself? Are you coming from your center? Or are you getting pulled at and caught up in the world and pressured and pulled and even from your own ideals of what that would look like? Thank you, Daniel. So what I'm saying is so poignant. So let's live from that eye, that calm centered place, the immovable point. Maybe it's not all at once, but maybe it's just this awareness of, oh, I wonder what that would be like. What would be possible there? Maybe it sounds to me like it's a lot less stressful. Doesn't mean there aren't actions to take care of, people to take care of, things to do, but it's got a different tone, right? News to keep up with and all the things, but you're coming from a different place. Rather than pulled and pressured, you're centered and grounded. And it may take practice, right? I'm not perfect. Oh my gosh, this week it was a rough one for me. All this feeling and more nervous energy. I'm like, what? Wow. But I can be with it. So a greater capacity than I would have had several years ago to be with that and be curious about it and see what that is. And we want to talk about the body for a second. Again, if you have an injury or some limitation and we can get real distressed about it, well, what if we just take that in stride a little bit more? Or see, well, why am I so upset about this? And what is that doing to me? Is that creating more tension to layer on top of tension? And, that creates a storm in itself. So just take a closer look this week and see if you're living in the storm or living in the eye of the storm. And join me next Monday for another Supersoul Boulder. I'm Dr. Lara Johnson from Yellow Brick Physical Therapy, and I love having you all on. Thank you so much, and thank you for indulging my Hamilton love and quotes on occasion. And, I hope you all have a really well and centered and grounded and eye of the storm week, regardless of what storms are going on around you. Awesome things they're achieving. Yeah, it helps to point out all the awesome things you're achieving. Yeah, it's good to acknowledge and be with all of that. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining me. Have a lovely, lovely Monday and a wonderful week. And know that I'm rooting for you, each and every one of you, and wanting for you to succeed in all the layers and levels that you are, right? Not just one, not just two, but all the multifaceted layers that make you you. All right, take care. Have a good night. Thanks so much for joining me.